Hi everybody, welcome to TDG Presents Theme Thursday. This week we're talking about the Strengthsfinder theme of restorative. Now restoratively, statistically kind of groups into the domain of the executing themes that are focused on getting things done. Now restorative on some level kind of also falls into strategic thinking because restorative is a problem solver at its core. Restorative likes to focus on things that can be, let me say it differently. Restorative believes nothing is too broken to be repaired. If you think about the root word, restorative, so restore, it believes anything can be restored. Now that concept isn't just about problems and working. It's not just about executing. They believe that people are not too broken. Situations, plans, ideas, influence. They believe nothing is too far gone. They have a natural kind of almost charismatic belief in this. And so for many of us who think that our lives are too broken, that we think we've made too many mistakes, people with restorative are just like we're like a magnet to them. We're totally drawn to them. In fact, I kind of joke and say that for those of us who are chaos and chaotic, to restorative, you're a train wreck magnet. If we're crazy and think that we're in need of hope, you often can give us hope. What's interesting though is that I say it like this. I think restorative has two pieces of a really talented theme. They have core beliefs and understanding and solutions that get at solving problems. They don't like restorative doesn't just like symptom fixing. They want actual solutions. So instead of pulling the weeds out by the leaves, they want to pull the weeds out by the roots. So on one level, they're really focused on a belief that nothing is too broken to be repaired, but also let's focus on solutions. So that's like half the theme. But the other half is restorative seems to have this ability to see problems before they happen. There's something about it. And so they naturally point out problems, mistakes, things that are going to go bad because they believe they can be fixed. But what happens is that we hear them pointing out the problems and the things we haven't thought of, and in the end, we think they're negative. So oftentimes, restorative is accused of being negative or pessimistic, because in most people's worlds, problems are a negative thing, not for restorative, because they don't believe that any problem is insurmountable. So they just say, well, here's a problem, but then they get labeled for being negative for it. So restorative, you instinctually have a sense that things can be put back together again, and you kind of spot things early. But what will happen is, over time, you'll quit speaking up. A lot of times I'll say things like, restorative has a better pair of prescription lenses than the rest of us does. What does that mean? They have a better view or better filter on what problems will be. So imagine myself and my friend with restorative are driving down the road, and they're sitting in the passenger seat and I'm driving. Now remember, they have a better prescription than I do, so they see further than I do. And they say to me, you know what, my friend Danny, if he had restorative, he would say, Mike, you better slow down, the bridge is out. I look and say, what bridge? I can't see that far. And I turn to Danny and say, Danny, why are you so negative? Why are you so pessimistic? Why are you kind of always focused on what's not working? And as I look back to the road, I suddenly realize I'm hurtling towards a ravine that has no bridge. So now I veer off the road blowing a tire. Now, the average person, if they give you advice and you ignore them, they're like, good luck, you're on your own. Not restorative. Even though I ignored them, even though I berated them, restorative gets out of the car, gets the tire iron, and changes my flat. Okay? But you know what happens? Restorative, over time, you stop saying the bridge is out. Because one, you may not trust yourself, but two, you're sick and tired of being told you're negative. And so you sit there silently in cars, watching the ravine coming towards you with the tire iron under the chair. See, we need you to speak up. If you're married to, work with, or in a relationship with restorative, if they come to you and they say they think something might break, remember, they're not being pessimistic. They literally want to help. You ignore them at your own peril. Restorative, who cares if we get it or not? Speak up. Truth, there are times when you realize that truth can be truth even if someone doesn't agree with it. There's things that you see that we need you to see. So when it comes to communicating, again, my filter of communication, decision-making, self-management, you're going to find restoratives are going to communicate first about problems. They're also going to listen for, is the work we're doing going to solve a problem? When you're presenting them, lead with the idea that you think will solve a problem for someone, and not just a fake problem. Restorative hates fake problems. They like solving problems that are actually meaningful to people's lives. They want to solve the meaningful issues. So they communicate about things that are going to fall apart, but they also listen for things that can be restored. When it comes to decision making, they prioritize solutions that they prioritize picking solutions that are true solutions, not just symptom fixes. And then when it comes to self-management, you're gonna find, Restorative, that you're the most alive when you get to actually make a difference in people's lives. Now be careful of this, because the greater the need, the greater will convince you that you're critical. When it's life-giving, it's good. When it's overwhelming and we constantly drag you into our chaos and then don't actually let things be fixed because we like our chaos, that's not okay. So you need boundaries. You need to learn to say no. A couple weeks ago with responsibility, I said that responsibility needs the boundaries of not taking on projects. Restorative, you do as well. Remember, the litmus test of not having good boundaries is when you're doing things you said you would do, but you're frustrated that you're doing them. So Restorative is a theme that naturally sees problems before they happen. They believe nothing is too broken to be repaired. And this is true of everything, not just working things, but people, situations in life. Restorative is genius on your team because if you can not react when they kind of point out the problem and not take it personal, and remember that it's not about you. They prioritize solutions differently than you do. If you can do that, you basically have an early warning radar system and you ignore them at your own peril. Sometimes you have to deal with the negativity, but Restorative is a huge value to us. Restorative, make sure you're healthy. Take care of yourself, because that's what keeps that radar crisp and sharp and of best service to those around you, and you'll get the most life out of helping us solve problems. Hope you've enjoyed this week's Theme Thursday. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the Strengthsfinder theme of woo. So my friend Rita requested woo. How's that for a phrase? We're going to talk about woo, which stands for winning others over. It's a social intelligence theme, one I kind of mentioned in the 3-Minute Coach last week. If you would like to put a theme on deck for coming weeks of Theme Thursday, go ahead and shoot me an email at michael@thedophnigroup.com. Hope you've had a great week. Lead courageously.